When it comes to pushing audiences beyond the limits of comfort, few modern horror films have done it quite like this movie. It's not just a sequel, it's a statement. A raw, unapologetic plunge into the kind of practical gore and creative madness that most studios wouldn't dare touch. Born from the underground and fueled by sheer obsession, it transformed what should have been a cult curiosity into a full-blown phenomenon, one that made viewers faint, critics recoil, and fans celebrate every blood-soaked frame. Today, we're peeling back the latex, the lore, and the lunacy behind Art the Clown's brutal comeback. From haunted sets to scenes too extreme to film, these are 20 weird facts about Terrifier 2, the movie that redefined what too far really means. Number 1. Behind the scenes, there was talk of a scene so extreme it didn't make the final cut. According to Variety, director Damien Leone revealed the early draft included a genital mutilation kill, specifically the removal of a man's penis. But they decided it was too far, even for Art the Clown. The fact that it was conceived, and then responsibly pulled, adds a weird layer. The movie you see is still the milder version of the version they almost did. It's a mini-universe of what might have been, lurking in the background of the narrative. And for fans, that hidden draft becomes part of the lore. Sometimes the most dreadful decisions are the ones not shown, and the film knows it. Number 2. When Terrifier 2 hit theaters, the horror wasn't confined to the screen, it spilled into the aisles. Audiences across the US reported vomiting, fainting, and even calling ambulances mid-screening. One viewer tweeted, "I passed out cold. Someone was puking in the bathroom." Director Damien Leone admitted he wore that reaction as a badge of honor, not because he wanted anyone hurt, but because it meant he'd tapped into something primal. This wasn't cheap gore, it was psychological endurance art. The lighting, pacing, and sound design built to overload the senses until the body itself rebelled. In that moment, Terrifier 2 became more than a movie. It became an ordeal. Number 3. In a revealing interview with Dread Central, Leone admitted that the gruesome kills in Terrifier 2 draw direct inspiration from infamous cases, most notably Jack the Ripper, whose Victorian-era murders were as much about ritual and terror as they were about casualties. Leone described studying Victorian forensic photographs and crime scene reports, and used that material to help sculpt kill scenes where the anatomy of the victim, the positioning of the wound, and the framing of the camera all echo historic methods of violence. One example, a scene where a victim is immobilized and mutilated while the camera remains unnervingly still, channeling the pseudo-clinical photographs of the 1888 Whitechapel murders. At another point, Leone calibrates the timing of a lifeless body's twitch after a brutal strike. He said that his special effects background meant he wasn't satisfied with just gore for gore's sake. He wanted the carnage to carry implication, a suggestion of something colder, premeditated, historical. That underlying layer makes the violence feel weirdly familiar. You aren't just shocked by what you see. You sense you've seen something like it before, on some old crime archive page, in the shadowed past of real human horror. Number 4. She's the figure you almost miss, a small, pale child with hollow eyes, silently trailing Art the Clown. In Terrifier 2, this eerie companion isn't human at all, but a manifestation of evil, the same force that resurrected Art after his death. Leone designed her to feel wrong in subtle ways. Her movements just off, her presence more sensed than seen. She appears in reflections, corners, or shadows where logic shouldn't place her. The result is haunting, a supernatural echo to Art's sadism. The more you watch, the clearer it becomes. She's not his victim or his accomplice. She's his mirror, born from the same nightmare. Number 5. Lauren LaVera didn't just act her way through Terrifier 2. She fought through it. Literally, nearly every strike, dodge, and sword swing you see on screen was performed by her. No stunt double in sight. Only 2 sequences, including a hazardous ceiling fall, were pulled by director Damien Leone for safety reasons. The rest, all her. You can see it in the strain of her shoulders, the labored breaths between takes, the way she swings not like a performer, but like someone surviving. In a movie built on shock and spectacle, her realism cuts the deepest. Because when the fake blood dries, what's left isn't choreography, it's bruises. And that makes Sienna Shaw the rare final girl who doesn't just endure horror, she earns it. Number 6. As stated, Sienna Shaw isn't your typical scream queen, she's a fighter. Actress Lauren LaVera came into Terrifier 2 with years of martial arts and weapons training, and director Damien Leone called her the only choice for the role. Every swing of her sword, every strike against Art the Clown, feels earned. Not choreographed, but grounded in real skill. Leone built Sienna's angel warrior persona around Lavira's physicality, letting her blend grace with fury. When she finally faces Art, it's not just good versus evil. It's years of real-life discipline versus chaos, control versus carnage. In a genre where victims usually run, Sienna stands her ground, turning the final girl trope into a full-blown resurrection. Number 7. Terrifier 2 didn't end with the film. It found new life on the page. In 2024, Titan Books, in collaboration with Bloody Disgusting, released the official Terrifier 2 novelization written by Tim Waggoner, the horror author behind tie-ins for Halloween Kills and Resident Evil. Waggoner's adaptation doesn't just retell the film. It dives deeper into Sienna Shaw's mindset, her emotional struggles, and the eerie mythology surrounding Art the Clown and the Little Pale Girl. Early reviews note expanded scenes, new internal monologues, and extra connective tissue between the supernatural elements. It's not just a retelling, it's an expansion, a blood-soaked epilogue that turns the movie's chaos into prose, offering fans a rare chance to think inside the nightmare instead of just watching it. Number 8. In a world of CGI and digital blood splatter, Terrifier 2 made a deliberate, visceral choice, using real meat and raw cellular material to amplify practical gore. Director Leone revealed that some of the guts were chicken cutlets and bacon inside these things. On the set, under hot lights, and amidst the chaos of practical effects, the visceral smell and texture pushed the boundaries of comfort. Leone admitted you have to shoot these things quickly because real meat under lights starts to degrade. It's messy, unpredictable, and by design, slightly wrong. This decision is weird because it takes you out of the safe suspension of disbelief. You don't just see something gruesome. You implicitly smell it, you imagine the dampness, the slickness, and you feel the weight of it. In essence, the film's brutality isn't just stylized, it's tactile, and that choice lends an uncomfortable authenticity, the kind that lingers after the credits roll. Number 9. The man behind the mask, David Howard Thornton, reveals that the transformation into Art the Clown is a ritual in itself. Over 3 hours in makeup every day, false teeth constantly dislodging, nose running in the cold, makeup cracking. He was quoted saying, "It takes about 3 hours to put on. The makeup starts falling apart due to my false teeth making me drool or my nose running." What's weird is how the actor who becomes a supernatural killer clown is himself physically battling the costume, and that everyday discomfort bleeds into the film. Number 10. The haunted house sequence in Terrifier 2 wasn't shot on a studio backlot. It was filmed inside a real haunted attraction, the Fright Factory in Philadelphia. Imagine walking into a place already engineered to terrify paying customers. Dark corridors lined with props, blood-stained walls, and the faint echo of screams from past Halloween season. The production didn't need to fake fear. The atmosphere was baked in. When the cast filmed there after hours, every creak and shadow felt alive. Crew members claimed they'd hear footsteps where no one stood, props shifting on their own. Whether haunted or not, the building's energy seeped into every frame, turning make-believe terror into something eerily authentic. Number 11. Before the film even hit principal photography, Terrifier 2 turned to its audience. Leone launched an Indiegogo campaign with an initial goal of just $50,000 to fund one practical effects heavy scene, but the campaign soared beyond 430% of their goal, raising roughly $250,000 total. That financial gamble flipped the usual model. Fans didn't just watch the film, they contributed to its creation. In effect, the carnage you see on screen is partially built by the community's dollars and hope. This creates a unique energy. When you watch, you sense that every squelch, every cold-blooded kill carries a tiny bit of investment from someone who believed in the nightmare ahead. Number 12. Terrifier 2 proudly wears its reputation as a practical effects bloodbath, but what most fans don't realize is that digital effects quietly amplified nearly every major kill, so invisibly that viewers assumed it was 100% real. Director Damien Leone and VFX artist Josh Petrino used CGI not to create gore, but to erase the seams of reality. Take the bedroom massacre scene. The production used silicone limbs, blood tubing, and a full animatronic dummy for the physical performance, but Petrino digitally blended transitions between actress Casey Hartnett and her prosthetic double, smoothing movement, removing rig wires, and extending splatter beyond what physics allowed. In the Halloween party scene, he digitally erased safety harnesses and added faint, misty lighting to make Art's silhouette glide unnaturally, like a ghost walking through smoke. Even in quieter moments, like Art's reflection in the mirror with the pale girl, compositing was used to subtly distort his outline, hinting at something not quite human. It's all microscopic work. Blood arcs that last a few frames longer, wounds that pulse slightly deeper, reflections that flicker wrong. Leone called it icing on the cake, the kind of invisible wizardry that makes the practical gore look too real. The weird brilliance of Terrifier 2 is that its digital effects hide behind its analog brutality, convincing your brain that what you saw was impossible, yet somehow, horrifyingly, true. Number 13. Behind every gory gag and limbs everywhere shot lies the staggering truth. Director Damien Leone and producer Phil Falcone built nearly everything themselves, from props to special effects makeup, often in one small studio rather than a massive effects house. He admitted the film took years because we had to create virtually everything, including props, ourselves. The practical blood, the twisted limbs, the collapsing organs, the gruesome set pieces, all stem from hands-on craftsmanship. You can feel it in the frame. The seams, the imperfections, the slight wobble when a fake arm swings. The weirdness comes when you realize this brutal spectacle wasn't backed by tens of millions. It was built by a tiny team, doing gruesome artistry by hand. Number 14. Behind the chaos, the gore, and the mayhem stands one man, Damien Leone. He didn't just direct Terrifier 2, he wrote it, edited it, designed the sound, oversaw special effects, and practically built the world himself. According to interviews, Leone took on all those roles because he felt the film's vision had to come from one place. This kind of singular control is rare. You watch the film and sense its DNA in every frame. The awkward camera angles, the lingering close-ups, the blood-spattered surfaces all bear his fingerprints. When the credits roll, you realize the chaos wasn't just on screen, it was born in one mind, unleashed into our nightmares. Number 15. Mid-shoot. During the production of Terrifier 2, the world changed. Filming began in October 2019, but was brought to a sudden stop due to the COVID-19 pandemic, halting principal photography and forcing the creative team into lockdown. Damien Leone used the unexpected time off, not just to pause, but to deepen the film's vision. He lived in his producer's basement during lockdown, building prosthetics, refining the effects, working through story tweaks while the world was frozen. The delay became a hidden advantage. The extra prep time helped elevate the ambition, the gore, the craftsmanship, so when production resumed, the team arrived hardened and rededicated to the nightmare they were crafting. It's weirdly fitting that a film about unstoppable evil production was temporarily stopped only to return more lethal. Number 16. The movie's heroine, Sienna Shaw, wasn't an afterthought. She was part of the myth from the start. Leone revealed he spent months writing a character he describes as his favorite I've ever written. The narrative was crafted to give her a depth and physicality unusual in such brutal slashers. Family legacy, trauma, and a final girl arc with real stakes. You see this in the Angel Warrior costume, the fight training, the emotional beats beyond gore. The weirdness, a splatterfest that still pauses for a character to be more than a victim. And when the climactic fight arrives, you're invested in her survival, not just waiting for the next body count. Number 17. The Angel Warrior costume wasn't just symbolic, it inflicted real wear on the performer. She recounts that the wings and armor lacked proper lining early in the shoot, so she resorted to duct taping pieces and developed painful blisters from the ill-fitting gear. The costume also shaped her performance. She went from slouched and tentative to upright and determined as the film progressed, mirroring her character's growth. A heroic costume designed to embody strength began as a source of physical discomfort, both for character and actor. Number 18. The choice to resurrect Art the Clown at the start of Terrifier 2 wasn't simply a sequel motivator. It signaled a shift from killer slasher to mythic evil. The film opens with Art's corpse cleaned in a laundromat and revived by an unknown force. Creator Damien Leone confirms this resurrection foreshadows deeper supernatural layers beneath the gore. The weirdness emerges when the film you expect, A Night of Kills, starts hinting at portals, entities, and a legacy beyond death. By giving Art the Clown immortality, the narrative expands. The spectacle of violence becomes the tip of an iceberg, and when you walk away, you realize you're not just watching a clown kill, it's the origin of a nightmare myth. Number 19. Made for approximately $250,000, Terrifier 2 went on to gross over $15 million, making it one of horror's unexpected sleeper hits. For a film with no major stars, minimal marketing, and extreme, ultra-gory content, that leap is bizarre. You don't usually watch a clown horror sequel with a shoestring budget and see it rocket like that. That weird success becomes part of the film's identity. Low budget meets high impact. Number 20. After the screams faded, Terrifier 2 didn't just end, it splintered into souvenirs. Sienna's blood-soaked wooden plank, the same one that crushed Art the Clown, was auctioned with a certificate of authenticity, its edges still streaked with fake blood. Other props surfaced on eBay, shards of set dressing, clown weapons, even torn costumes, sold to fans who wanted to own a piece of the carnage. The film's official shop blurred the line further, mixing replicas with screen-used relics in the same catalog. Suddenly, a micro-budget nightmare had become a collectible universe. The weirdness. Terrifier 2 turned gore into memorabilia, proof that even horror's most brutal moments can be boxed, labeled, and sold. For all its outrageous gore and mythic chaos, Terrifier 2 remains something rare, a horror film made by pure willpower. It's not just the story of a killer clown, but of an artist who turned nightmares into craft, pain into purpose, and low-budget chaos into cinematic infamy. Love it or loathe it, Terrifier 2 didn't just raise the bar, it cut straight through it. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the madness, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit rewind for more strange, shocking, and unforgettable moments from the darker corners of cinema.